Welcome back to the final video of Unit 3, which is on employment law. This should be a relatively short video, so we'll get straight into things. So what is employment law then? So there are various different laws that are put in place to protect workers from employers, especially if they're being treated unfairly. Discrimination is when one worker is being treated differently from another for no real reason. Employment tribunal is basically a panel that employees and the employer would go to if there's some sort of issue that hasn't been resolved within the workplace. A trade union is an organisation that represents workers and their interests. So discrimination laws then. Discrimination at work can affect the following. So recruitment, so you could be treated differently. You shouldn't be, but you obviously could be. You could be discriminated against if you were applying for a certain job. It could be you're being discriminated against regarding pay, terms and conditions of your employment, maybe opportunities for promotion, training opportunities, and if you've been fired. You can't be discriminated against over these different things. You should be treated equally. The Equality Act 2010, don't stress too much about learning the year, basically brought together lots of different smaller pieces of legislation in one single act. And it's a framework for businesses and employees to understand to make sure that they're not being discriminated against. So there's 6 different parts of the Equality Act that you need to know. Equal Pay Act is when men and women, if they are doing the same work, they need to be paid the same amount of money. Race discrimination, in a similar way, people of race, colour, nationality or ethnic origin should be treated exactly the same and they shouldn't be being treated differently. Sex discrimination is when men or women are being treated differently in the workplace. Again, they should be treated the same. For example, you couldn't on a job advert say you only wanted men to apply or only wanted women to apply. There's the odd exception, things like, a PE teacher where you can hire a specific sex, but in most businesses and in most situations you can't hire for a man or a woman. There's three more that you need to know. So disability discrimination, equal opportunities for disabled people, and again, that's not always just a physical disability. You may not be able to see that disability. It could be something like dyslexia. Sexual orientation, so an employer should not treat people with different sexual orientations over another. Everyone again should be treated the same. Religion or belief discrimination, same thing works here. So people, with different views and different religions should be treated the same as other people. Okay, a little bit to know on holidays here then. Basically a holiday is an entitlement that you get per year depending on how much you work. So you can work out how many holiday days your basic entitlement is by doing however many days in the week that you work times by the figure 5.6. So most people work a 5-day week. If you do 5 times 5.6, you get 28 days per year. That would be your minimum holiday entitlement. Now some businesses might give you more days than that. If you are part-time, maybe you work only 2 days a week, you do 2 times 5.6 and then you're entitled to 11.2 days paid per year. Now that 0.2 would be a discussion with you and your business. Do you get maybe an afternoon off, or do they just give you the day and you get 12 days? So here's 3 other ones to practice, so pause it here and then I'll put the answers on. Here's the answers. Okay, hours worked. So there's something called the Working Time Directive, and it's about the maximum number of hours that a person could be asked to work. Okay, now this is not a you can go above this, but it is a like your decision. So a business could ask you to work 100 hours in a week, but you get the option to say no. The limit is 48 hours. So it's slightly different if you're under 18, but it's 48 hours. That's the maximum someone can be asked to work. So if a business asks you to work 52 hours, you can say to them, no, my maximum is 48. You can obviously work less than that. That's absolutely fine. You also need to be able to work out the average number of hours someone has worked in a period of time. So if in the exam they give you someone's worked 799 hours over a 17-week period, you need to be able to work out the average amount of hours worked, which is really easy. You just use 799 divided by 17, and that gives you the average amount of hours that they've worked. Again, you might want to just calculate the average hours worked, pause it here, give it a go, and then check my answers in a sec. Okay, I don't actually think I put my answers on there. So all you had to do was 458 divided by 36, 700 divided by 52, 1,000 divided by 52, and you'll have your answers. So a bit more depth then on hours worked. So workers do have the right to opt out of this, like I said. So it's a discussion between you and your work. Contract of employment is a legal agreement between you and the employer. It will detail things about how many hours you're going to work, how much you get paid, where you'll be working. All those sort of things will be in the contract of employment. A statement of employment particulars is basically a part of the employment contract, and you usually get that very quickly from within starting. You really should have that on your first day, the statement of employment particulars. You don't need to get a contract of employment for a good couple of weeks, but you should have a statement of employment particulars when you start the job. So how do we comply with employment laws? This is for businesses. So if we're complying with employment laws, we benefit and have drawbacks. So the good things, if we're complying, so if we're actually complying with the employment laws, you're going to get less labour turnover, so less staff leaving. Easier to attract new workers because you'll have a good reputation for meeting the employment laws, and you'll also get fewer complaints, fewer times taken to court, all that sort of stuff. If you don't comply, then there's some drawbacks, more court costs because your employees might take you to court, you might get more fines from government, and also it could impact on your business from a publicity point of view, which costs you money. That's it. Thanks very much.